infancy, so we hope that people will reserve judgment until there is something to see. Joining us right now is April Reign, co-creator of #NoConfederate. So, April, what about that? Why you haven't seen a show? All we know is the name of the show and the concept. Why not allow the show to move forward to see exactly what it looks like?
Well, actually, we know more than that, right? What we know is that Benioff and Weiss are the producers of the fan favorite Game of Thrones. That show is now in its 7th season. They have been constantly and consistently criticized, not only for the gratuitous depiction of rape on the show, but also with respect to the lack of significant characters on the show, and with respect to the lack of diversity behind the camera. And those are the things that I talk about with Oscar So White. So if they can't handle those two issues, race and the subjugation of women, in over 6 years, what confidence should we have in either of them to be able to handle those issues with increased nuance and sensitivity on a show that will have the enslavement of black people, and clearly we'll be talking about those issues on that show.
But they also say they have 2 African Americans who will be prominent, playing prominent roles on the show.
They did say that. What they also said, though, in the press release is that they brought in Malcolm and Nichelle Spellman, who are incredible writers in their own right, because they were lazy, talking about Benioff and Weiss. So it wasn't as if they understood that there were going to be issues that they needed to handle sensitively, and therefore they brought in the Spellman so that they could do so with nuance. It was that they, Benioff and Weiss, were lazy. So if HBO really wants to do a show on slavery, and I'm not exactly sure why, because we've got more than enough slavery on books and movies and TV already, they could pick up Underground, which was recently canceled by WGN. We have Misha Green, who is a black woman, fantastic producer and showrunner. She could do that show. It already has a devoted fan base, and we would 100% support that. In addition, because we know that Benioff and Weiss have an amazing amount of leverage with respect to HBO, why don't they take a step back and let the Spellmans come through with a pitch or an idea for a show, and then we could open up the opportunities for more marginalized communities, which is what Oscar.
All right, so this is April Bryant, not the one who, is the news reporter, I guess. This is another one. But Roland Martin had a segment today to talk about the No Confederate campaign, which I think is silly. But here you have it again. You have a bunch of, I can acknowledge this, right? There's a lot of black folks who are on this kumbaya, multiculturalism, intersectionality, whatever kumbaya bull. And that's what they're on, right? It is what it is. And I guess in that space, they want to hold accountable the people who claim to be their allies or whatever, right? And they want to, check them on their lack of diversity or insensitivity when it comes to creating films, when it comes to race, right? I think it's stupid. I know that's what they're on and that's what they're about. But looking at it from the outside in, is like, I would rather spend my energy focused on content that I want to see rather than, hashtagging and trying to demand things when we don't even have the receipts to demand it, right? I've talked about this before. When you look at the Nelson rating system, stuff like that, a lot of these companies, like if it's Showtime when it came to the show Gorilla, or even HBO. Now I think HBO probably has more black subscribers than a Showtime or Cinemax, absolutely. But realistically speaking, if you're threatening them, we're going to boycott and we're going to cancel our subscriptions, which a lot of people will do, right? I read the comments on the Roland Facebook page. Some folks were saying they would do that, but I think that they could cut their losses and not care. Realistically speaking, I don't think that we have enough of a membership to that service that it would matter. But and now you got Hulu that offers HBO as well, so you don't even have to have HBO. You can just have Hulu and watch some of the shows from HBO through Hulu now. But it's pretty simple. The reason why I don't care about content like this or creations like this is because, as we know, on the other flip side, Aaron Magruder is making as they call it, an alternate reality TV show based on if the blacks would have won the South, things of that nature. So again, she's using all her energy to go on hashtag on Twitter and cry about this show, right? instead of using all that energy to push support for black people to do the same thing, right? It's a competition. Now you have opportunities where somebody's actually at the same time, right? The day that this hashtag, like a week, this hashtag was released, within the same week, 5 days, we hear that Aaron McGruder is doing a show where what if black folks got their reparations? What if they won the South? What if, Oklahoma, Oklahoma, all those type of things were stayed intact and they weren't destroyed by the state and by racist white folks? I would rather support that than bitch and moan about the Confederate show. And the irony is there's already a show called, I think, High Castle, which is a show about what if Hitler actually won the war? What if they stayed in power? That's exactly what that show's about. So we already have those shows here, right? And I'm sure if you break stuff down without being direct, there's probably a lot of shows like that, right? And you just don't even know. I got a commentary coming up about the episode of Game of Thrones, and I'm gonna give my take on the Unsullied and what happened with their sexual scene. But you can make an argument about that. There's this article about the black guide of watching Game of Thrones. Again, it looks like we're just crying and bitching about stuff that we don't own or control, and we want agency and we want representation, something that's not the directors or the writer's responsibility to do for us. Where you should go is go see Aaron McGruder, check out what he's doing. He's giving you the very exact flip side of this. I would love to see more scientific artwork where, what if this happened instead? What if when them slave ships came, it went down differently, right? Or even rather see, celebrate those who never got on the ships in the first place and rather die on their land, right? I support that. I don't support this bitch ass fake ass begging white liberals to support us. And it's funny, I was in the comment section on Roland, and somebody said, well, the directors, the two white guys who direct Game of Thrones, which are about to direct this, well, they're liberal. And I'm like, really? Like, the same white liberals who gentrify black neighborhoods, the same white liberals who fight to keep poor blacks and Latinas out of their school districts, the same white liberals who signed the 94 crime bill, right? The same white liberals who run Google, Silicon Valley, Facebook, Amazon, and they have like 2% of black employment in their businesses. Them same white liberals are creating this content. Like, that's not an excuse, right? That's corny. But I get it, right? I guess you could say these people are trying to hold accountable of their so-called allies, right? If these people are preaching and teaching diversity and intersectionality and all the other bullcrap, but when it comes to their own stuff, they don't practice that. And that's exactly what Hollywood does. I've said this all the time. Oscar night is one night where blacks and conservatives both feel left out because they not really messing with either one of you. But that's just my take on it. I think people should support the content that you want to see. Stop bitching about content you can't control. I really think it's silly if you think you're going to get you can't even get all black people to commit to saying they're going to boycott the NFL over Kaepernick. You think you're going to get them to boycott HBO when Chicks is like the #1 chick show on network TV? Because I think, Scandal's on ABC and Me and Mary Jane's on BET. So, BET's cable, whatever. But I'm sure Issa Rae show outshines B and Mary Jane. But I'm saying, sisters ain't about to give up HBO for you for this Confederate show. As much as they, again, some people say they will boycott and they will get rid of it. I mean, you got Ballers, you got Game of Thrones, you got people who still want to rewatch The Wire. Like, I don't think that's gonna happen. I just don't. In any significant way that you would get them to stop making a show. And then they had the sister on the show talking about you should pick up the underground. And I'm like, wait a minute. So now you're trying to tell networks what they should pick up. You're trying to tell them the content they should create. Like, y'all doing a little bit too much. Go support those who have it. If Oprah said she can't afford underground and she not picking it up, how you gonna demand that HBO pick it up, right? That don't make no damn sense. Oprah said no. So underground's probably gone. It's probably dead. It's probably, over with. But a part of me, again, I understand people are on what they're on. I don't try to dictate, tell them they shouldn't be on. But I am looking from the outside in saying, this shit looks retarded. It just looks dumb. You can't tell people what kind of content they can create. Just like I don't want them telling us the content we want to create, right? Yes, do white people bitch and moan when they see, I guess in Deadpool 2, you see already they got a chick with, I don't know how to say it, Villoga, whatever. In the comic books, she has no race, but she has like an eye coloration, right? It was released, I guess, that the chick is going to be black or biracial, I don't know. But some people aren't in feelings about that. Yeah, they get bitch about that. Whenever a rapper or somebody says something about black women, do people bitch? All that is true. Both sides do it, absolutely. But I think it's stupid when both sides do it, right? And it's funny too. Someone said again the same stupid rehash arguments. Well, don't you guys own BET? Like, why isn't there a black network? Because someone said we need to control our own content and create our own work. Some of the people were saying that in the comment sections of Roland Martin's Facebook page, which is something we've already been established that that's what needs to be happening. But how often does, not even to talk about Birth of a Nation, but it's interesting how we let other people in other issues and plights trump our own work and we sabotage it, but then go back to complaining about them not getting this representation, right? It is what it is. But this shit is dumb, right? Hashtag no Confederate. You cannot dictate what people create in the content they want to create, right? You just can't do that. You don't have the power or resources to do that. And it's a waste of time when you can easily go put your energy behind somebody who's giving you exactly what they're doing on the flip side. I hope Aaron McGruger's job gets done. I didn't watch that Black Jesus stuff. That shit was kind of stupid to me. But I really didn't appreciate Boondocks until it was off the air because I thought it was a lot of coonery and buffoonery. So I didn't really watch it when it was in its exception. But a couple episodes I did watch and they were great points. I probably one day will go back and watch some of the episodes. Some of that shit was gay as hell though. But that's just how I see it. Go support the content you want to see. Yeah, you want to hold accountable your white liberal allies. You want to make them be diverse and sensitive to their work. But they've shown you over and over again, they don't care. They keep making the same movies with whitewashing characters and all this other nonsense. They don't care. Right? Leave them alone. Go where you listen to Crystal and Karazan. Go where you celebrate it, not tolerate it.